I've had quite a few people drop me a message on Instagram asking me the benefits of intermittent fasting when it comes to weight loss. So I wanted to cover it in this video in full. This is everything you will need to know about intermittent fasting when it comes to weight loss. So make sure you stay tuned. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another video. And yes, we are still in quarantine, as you can tell by my haircut. So intermittent fasting for weight loss. Let's start with one main thing. Intermittent fasting is not a diet plan. It's an eating pattern. So you can use this along with any single diet plan you're following, whether it's been vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, omnivore, I don't know, whatever you're doing, it's just an eating pattern. It's a strict set of rules. You're eating between these hours and you're fasting between these hours. Whichever one you choose, you can do a 16-8, you can do a 24, which is known as the warrior diet. You can do an 18-6, or you can do an OMAD. I know that was not in any particular order, but OMAD is definitely the hardest. I'll touch on a few of those a bit later on. Remember, you can skip breakfast, which is the most traditional way to do it, or you can skip dinner. It doesn't matter, honestly. It depends what type of person you are. If you can't function or go about your day without eating breakfast, I don't suggest not eating breakfast. I don't want to be responsible for you messing up at work and you feeling like absolute shit.
Yeah, but that's easier said than done.
But that feeling of hunger is not necessarily hunger. You'll feel like missing breakfast. You'll feel, oh, I'm super hungry. It's honestly more habitual than it is hunger. When we wake up, you will soon find the more you do intermittent fasting, you will soon realize that hunger is more habit than hunger. While obviously intermittent fasting is not a magic pill, but when you successfully deplete your carbohydrates, you use them up, your body will start to use stored fat as fuel.
Okay, so let's look at this entry, well, this review even, in the American Journal of Physiology. Adaptive reciprocity of lipid and glucose metabolism in human short-term starvation. Basically, in a nutshell, some fasting. So basically, during starvation, plasma fatty acids levels increase within a 14-hour period after the last meal. But if you look a bit closely, the increased growth hormone experience from fasting, that is true, increases lipolysis of triglycerides stored in adipose tissue and, as a consequence, plasma-free fatty acid levels. I'll put this full study in the description as per usual.
And obviously that's a good sign if you're looking to lose weight. You can do a water fast or a dry fast. Water fast, which means actually drinking water. A dry fast means no water. I don't suggest doing a dry fast until you've successfully completed a lot of water fasts. It's a much more difficult protocol, and that is definitely another video entirely, so don't get caught up on that quite yet.
What was that?
Okay, so say you're following a 16-8 protocol. You've got 8 hours to eat, 16 hours to fast. Generally speaking, you're not going to be getting much more than 2 to 3 meals in this period of time. You might get 3 meals and 1 snack, like a protein shake, for instance, but generally speaking, you're not going to go over this, but there's no set amount of meals to have. You just got to be able to finish those meals within the 8 hours. I do suggest having nutrient-dense foods. Nutrient-dense foods are going to keep you satiated for longer and stop you from feeling hungry as well. You don't have to do that 100% of the time. You can be a bit flexible on some days, but on those days you want to be more flexible, I suggest you track, and then you can squeeze something in more towards the end of the day. As an example how this might work, what you do is you go for your nutrient-dense foods first, as whole foods. You'd eat those, and then maybe save 200 to 300 calories, and then you can have dessert with dinner or dessert with lunch, however way you're structuring it. But that is something I don't mind, something I could do myself sometimes as well. But make sure you kind of know you're not going to go over into a surplus. You can still remain within that deficit if weight loss is your ultimate goal. And also, what a lot of people do is make a big mistake. They go straight into 16 hours of fasting, and then they just feel like shit.
I can see that.
I suggest building it up. Start with a 12-hour fast and then build it all the way up to 16. Do that for a while, and do it slowly. Don't expect to be able to do 16 easily straight off the bat. And then what you can do is you can start increasing your frequency. Maybe you can start with fasting 1 day a week, then 2 days a week, then 3 days a week, all the way up to 5 days a week. So while you're fasting, say you're doing a 16-hour fast, during that 16 hours, obviously minus the time you're asleep, you want to be drinking no calories, eating no calories, not drinking, eating, nothing. So drink mainly water. You can have some coffee, some herbal tea. Coffee actually speeds up autophagy, which is that cell renewal process. But you don't want to be having too much coffee, because too much coffee can give you digestive issues, especially on an empty stomach, and can also make you highly, highly anxious. Herbal teas such as chamomile tea can increase autophagy as well, which is really good. And you can have other herbal teas like rhubarb. Just make sure they're calorie free. And if you're going to add sweetener, add a small amount. Don't go overboard, because that can actually end up messing up your gut and can, in some cases, cause an insulinogenic response, which means your body thinks it's eating, basically. Then there's always, if you can't handle coffee, matcha or green tea is going to be super effective as well. It'll give you a nice energy kick and also, again, increase autophagy, and it has a ton of different antioxidants. You can add lemon juice, the juice of the lemon, to the water to make it a bit more flavorsome. You can add minerals. You can think about taking something like a hypertonic mineral by Quinton. That's really good. Or just a pinch of like Celtic salt to your water. That will help you stay positively charged. Not only that, it'll keep you energetic, stop you from feeling dizzy, stop you from feeling lightheaded, and nauseous as well. So remember those things. Remember, no calories. If you're gonna have like carbonated beverages, keep those to a minimum. I don't mind carbonated water, as it helps keep you satiated as well. 24, the warrior diet. The warrior diet sounds pretty cool, hey? 20 hours of fasting, though, is pretty tough. I do warn you in advance. So make sure you've successfully done some 16-hour fasts, and then you can build it up to that 20-hour mark, throw in a few of those, especially if weight loss is your ultimate goal. That 4-hour eating window is going to be very, very difficult to overeat during that 4-hour eating window, but it's still extremely possible. But I suggest building it up. And also, if you're doing a 24, you've got to be much more careful when you break your fast. Otherwise, you'll mess up your gut. You need to get that stomach acid going again, get that bile going. So I suggest breaking your fast with some apple cider vinegar, water, maybe some bone broth, some collagen. I actually have a personal preference for collagen. You can have some EAAs, half a protein shake, just something nice and light to get that stomach acid and bile going and make it much lighter on your stomach when you actually eat the proper food. But remember, you don't have to, you can eat over the space of 4 hours. It doesn't have to be one meal, and you will likely be in a deficit. But remember, go for highly nutrient dense foods. It's especially important if you're doing a 24 warrior diet, because you have a smaller time frame to get in those nutrients well. If you're worried about your body going to starvation mode, do not worry at all. That takes 3 days to happen, not 16 hours and not 24 hours. Starvation mode means basically storing whatever comes in, but that will not happen in 16 to 20 hours. And remember, this is the most important thing. Calorie deficit is the most important thing. You've got to be burning more than you're consuming. However way you look at it, what intermittent fasting will do is it will suppress your hunger. So it's a great tool. Suppress that appetite and give you a narrow eating window, a clear set of rules to follow, which means you're unlikely to overeat. And it's a great tool in that respect. So don't forget the importance of a calorie deficit if your main goal is to lose weight. If your goal is to lose fat and hold on to as much muscle as possible, 16 to 8 is the most proven and the best way to actually do that. Remember, try and find a fasting schedule and stick to it. So if you're fasting from 12 to 8, you're fasting from 1 until 9, whatever you're doing, whatever schedule you have, it could be the opposite or it doesn't really matter. Make sure you stick to it, because what your body will do, because of circadian rhythms, it will adapt to that and suppress ghrelin, your hunger hormone. So you get the added benefit of suppressed hunger by actually finding a window and sticking to that window. Make sure the window you choose fits around your schedule, and it's not awkward and doesn't put stress on your life in any way. And without sounding like Captain Obvious, keep your protein levels high during this period. Between 0.75 and 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, whatever diet you're following. This will make sure you're holding on to as much muscle as possible, and you're also keeping that hunger locked up. Eric Helms and colleagues in 2014 suggested that the most appropriate deficit to hold on to muscle and to lose fat is taking your body weight in pounds and times it by 13. You don't have to be super rigid, but that's just an approximate calculation if you want to know. So times it by 13, your body weight in pounds. And there's benefits of training fasted and fed. It depends, it really does depend on what sort of training you're doing and if you can eat straight afterwards. So if you're doing cardio and your main goal is fat loss, then training in the morning could be extra beneficial because it further depletes your carb stores, meaning that you're going to get into your stored body fat a lot sooner, which is great news. But if you want to build muscle, you want to hold on to muscle, you're doing a heavy strength training session in the morning, try and make sure that you can get food afterwards. If you can't get food straight afterwards, taking an EAA supplement, taking 5 to 10 grams will hold on to a significant amount of muscle and be highly beneficial, prevent that muscle breakdown. That's not what you want. You don't want that muscle breakdown. So remember, it does depend on your goal, and it depends on whether intermittent fasting works for you. So everything I said means nothing if intermittent fasting does not fit around your life. Remember that hunger pangs, etc., you're going to get to begin with may well just be habitual, or they may actually be hunger pangs. But eventually your stomach will shrink and you will be used to your new eating pattern. Remember, the fasting means fasting. The fed means fed. Having a tiny bit of calories is not going to completely kill your gains, especially if your main goal is, say, fat loss. It's going to just interfere with some of the health benefits, and it will also prevent you from digging into those fat stores which you truly want to achieve. But remember, like I said, it's not a magic pill. You need to be in a deficit in order to lose weight. And if you're wanting to build muscle, I'm going to do a whole nother video completely dedicated to that, so do not worry. If you want to stay up to date on my life, go follow me on Instagram. That's at Adam Scott Fit. Go follow me on Instagram and subscribe to this channel for all future videos. Click that bell notification to be alerted as soon as I put a video. Comment below as that helps out. And also I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Anything that is. You can DM me on Instagram. And also if you want me to create a customized training program which you can train from home and still get all the benefits out of being in a gym, your home gym that is, then reach out to me on Instagram or go to my website, www.adamscottfit.com, fill in a form, and I'll get straight back to you. But until the next video, keep pushing those limits.